Have you heard about SaaS Animations? If you want to master the editing style of 2026, you need to know this. Those are sharp, premium, high-quality animations, the kind clients pay hundreds and thousands of dollars for it. No joke. This is the exact style running AI ads, startups, and tech world where the real money is. But most people see it and don't actually understand how it works. What are the rules behind it, or how they can actually implement it? And that's exactly why I'm here for. In this tutorial, I'm going to break down the 3 steps that will give you everything you need to actually master this style. First, I will show you the basic of SaaS backgrounds, how they made, why they work, and we will go through the real examples so we fully get the logic behind them. Then we will create 2 high-quality SaaS animations step by step, the kind that instantly upgrade your level as an editor. And finally, I will show you how to build a full motion explainer ad for ChatGPT, so you can see how everything connects into a real-world project. Make sure to watch it till the end because you won't just know what SaaS style is, you will have the tools to start making it yourself. All the assets and the project files link in the video description.
Alright, in order to build SaaS animation backgrounds, we need to look at 2 main things. First is the shapes. At the start, you need to create the base shape. It really doesn't matter what it is or how it looks. The more unique or weird it is, the more interesting the background will feel. It can be anything. A line, a triangle, a star, whatever you want. Once you find the right shape, that's when we start adding effects. There are 3 main effects that really matter here. First, the effects box blur. This one softness and blur the shape. And then we have the turbulent displace, which destroys the shape in a really smooth, nice looking way. You can also add an expression to give it constant motion. And finally, the wave warp, which makes the whole thing feel like wave is passing through it. And that is the foundation for SaaS backgrounds. Now let's build a few examples. Background 1. Right click and create a new composition with a width of 90/20 and a height of 1080. We will start with the first step. Creating a shape. Use the pen tool and create a star at the center of the screen, about this size. Center the anchor point. Then change the fill color to linear gradient. Go into the color settings and pick the colors you want. I used shades of blue. Stretch the color key slightly to the side for a smoother blend. At the start of the layer, create rotation keyframe. Move to the end of the layer and rotate it by 1 full rotation. Select the keyframes, open the graph editor, and apply easy ease to them. This creates smoother motion. Now let's start adding effects. Add a face box blur effect to the star. In the settings, increase the blur radius to 80. This blurs the shape like I explained in the beginning. Then add the wave warp effect. Change the wave type to uncircle. Increase the wave height to 290. And also raise the wave width to 500. You can already see the shapes of the waves. Rotate the direction slightly to 135 degrees. It's also important to lower the wave speed to about 0.1, so it's not too fast. Almost done. Duplicate the wave effect. Change the type to sine. And lower the height slightly to 115. Rotate the direction a bit to around 280. And that's it. This was the first background. It's just beautiful and super simple. That's the beauty of those backgrounds, how simple they are and how much they add to the video. Here you will learn how to think like a pro editor, not just effects, but timing, flow, and creative decisions that elevate your entire video. Make sure to follow so you don't miss the next video. Background 2. Lower the visibility of the first background and let's start creating the second background. Using the pen tool, draw a line in the center of the screen with a stroke thickness of 220 pixels. Also, set it to linear gradient and change the colors to whatever fits your style. I chose those colors. Stretch the color keys to the side for a smoother blend. Add the face box blur effect, and in the settings increase the blur radius to 150. It should be really blurry. Add the wave warp, increase the height to 300, and the width to 300 as well. It's very important to change the wave type to uncircle. Here too, lower the wave speed to 0.1. In rotation, rotate it to 200 degrees. In scale, unlink the values and reduce the X and the Y values. You can just adjust them however it looks good to you. Add the warp effect. Change the style to arch and the axis to vertical. Increase the blend to 75 and lower the horizontal direction to -100. And done. Let's see. And I will say it again, it's super simple and really beautiful. Background 3. Lower the visibility of the previous background. For the third and last background, we'll just add a bunch of effects to understand that we can really create background even by messing around. Like before, use the pen tool to create a line in the center of the screen with the same thickness. In the settings, change your first color key to pink, the second change to red, and the third to orange to create a different color palette. Stretch the color keys to the sides. Go to the settings, under gradient, open taper, and increase the start length to 50%. Position the anchor point at the right side of the line, move to the start of the layer, set the rotation to 30, and create a keyframe. Move to the end of the layer and set it to -30. Add a turbulent displace effect to the layer. In the settings, increase the amount to 84, and the size to 300. This creates an interesting distortion. Hold the Control key, Option on Mac, and at the same time right-click on the evolution stopwatch. This will open a field where you can enter expressions. Type time multiplied by 80 to give it constant motion. The line is so complex, so I added to the video description. And it should look like this. Add the facebox blur effect. In the settings, increase the blur radius to 120, reduce the scale of the layer to 50%, move the layer to the center of the screen, unlink the scale, and slightly reduce the X scale. It should look like this. But wait, we are not done yet. Add the wave warp. Increase the height to 115 and the width to 500. Finally, lower the speed to 0.1. Take a look, man, it's free. And honestly, it's amazing. Two beautiful animations. Now we'll create two amazing animations, starting with the count % animation. To create it, start by lowering the visibility of the other backgrounds and bring back the visibility of the first background. We will use it for the animation. Copy the background, create a new composition with the same parameters, and paste the background there. It's big, so scale down to around 50%. Go into the color settings and change the fill color key to fuchsia pink. The second change to orange tone, and the last to blue tone. Listen man, it's going to look awesome. In the center of the screen, type the number 0 using the interfont bold. Scale it up to 250% and compress the Y scale to 140. Add the counter preset effect to it. A built-in effect that makes things much easier for us as editors. And I am giving it to you in the video description, it's completely free. Also, your support helps us a lot. Thank you to all the followers. And if you are not following yet, now is the time. There is a sea of content here worth a fortune. Let's go back. Lower the pad zeros to 1 and increase the animation value to 99. Center the anchor point and align the text at the center of the screen. Move forward to the last value keyframe that was created automatically and set it to 0%. Select the keyframes, open the graph editor and create the first ease in. Move to the second where the number shows 11 and create a position keyframe. Move forward one frame where the number changes to 9 and shift the number slightly to the right toward the center of the screen. Now it looks much better. Go back to the start of the layer and add the bouncing text effect to it. This preset creates a nice entrance with a bounce, and I will add it to the video description. Right click the layer, go to layer styles, and choose bevel and emboss. In the settings, increase the size to 7, lower the highlight opacity to 50%, and also the shadow intensity lower to 50%. Also, increase the depth to 250%, change the layer mode to overlay. Now, as you can see, it doesn't do much yet, so we need to add a solid layer. Right click and create a new solid with a black color. Move it under the background, and now it works. It looks something like this. Duplicate the number layer. For the bottom layer, go into the settings and remove the bevel and emboss, and set the mode back to normal. Turn the layer into an adjustment layer, add a facebox blur effect. In the settings, increase the blur radius to 10, then add the transform effect, and increase the scale to 120. Now it already looks much better, but we are just begun. Duplicate the top number layer, turn off the fill, add a stroke of 18 pixels, and change it to white. Move the layer under the two number layers. It looks good, but it's just a bit lacking in color. So we set the background scale to 100%, and here's absolute cinema. We finished creating the base. Now watch how in a second we turn it from a nice animation into something truly amazing. Right click and create one node camera. When the number on the screen is 11, trim the camera layer, move back to the first part of the camera, and in its position, move it forward and up so it looks like this. Create a position keyframe, move back, and shift the camera slightly to the right. Grab the keyframe and move it to the start of the layer. The last keyframe move to the end of the layer. Now do the same for the trimmed layer. When the number on the screen is 0, at 1.5 seconds, create a position keyframe. Go back, move the camera slightly to the right, and move the position keyframe to the start of the second camera layer. Select the keyframes, open the graph editor, and combine both graph into one smooth motion curve. It should look like this. Already looks much better. Create an adjustment layer. Move between the two camera layers and add the facebox blur effect to the adjustment layer. In the settings, increase the blur radius to 30 and create a keyframe. Move back 5 frames and reset it to 0. If you want, you can trim the layer before this keyframe. Move 5 frames after the keyframe, reset it to 0 again, and you can trim the layer after this point. Take a look. Your computer is strong enough, don't worry man. Now we've finished the first animation, and we will move on to the second one. On the bottom black solid, add the tint effect. At second 2 and 12 frames, create a matte black 2 keyframe, move 5 frames forward and change the color to white. Go back to the first keyframe, and for the number layers, create opacity keyframes. Move forward slightly, set the opacity to 0%, and trim the layers after the keyframe. Take a look. We won't need the camera anymore, so you can trim and delete it in the end. Also, trim the background layer, and on the right background layer, go into fill and change the blue to a light yellow. This looks more suitable for a white background. Add the image of the rectangles to the comp, This will serve as a template for the animation. Scale it down slightly so it fits the screen. Using the roundness rectangle tool, create a rectangle around each of the template's rectangles. Do this for all the other rectangles, each one matching the size and the shape. Make sure you are precise. And while I'm doing this, go subscribe. It takes about 5 seconds and it's completely free. And if you want to learn how to think creatively and make animations completely on your own, we made a video about the topic. Go check it out. But of course, after finishing this video. Let's go back. Select all the layers and move them so they start at second 2. Delete a layer that was used as a template. We don't need it anymore. Select all the rectangle layers. Move to second 3. Turn all the layers into 3D and create a position keyframe. Go to the start of the layer and move them forward until they disappear. Select the keyframes, open the graph editor and create a fast ease in. The movement should look like this. Add the 4 videos to the comp and scale them down to 40%. We have 12 rectangles but only 4 videos, so we need to duplicate the videos 3 times. Duplicate them, grab the edges of the layers and drag them to the point where the videos start. Move backward to the same point, then trim and delete the extra part. This gives us different segments of videos. Repeat this one more time. And now we have 12 videos for 12 rectangle layers. Move the first video layer above the first rectangle, place the video over the first rectangle, and link it to it using both Chromatic and parent and link. Now do the same for all the rectangles. Make sure each video is above this rectangle, and link with the Chromatic and the parent and link. Finally, after linking on the layers, turn on the video layers into 3D so they can move with the rectangles. You see, there is a problem. The video didn't start at the right time. Find the point where the video begins, drag it to the start of the layer and delete the part before it. Now it should look like this. Move to the last rectangle, duplicate the layer, move the duplicate under the original layer and turn its visibility back on. In rectangle settings, slightly increase the size. Finally, turn the layer into an adjustment layer. Add a fast box blur effect. In the settings, set the blur radius to 5. Also, add a transform effect. And in the settings, increase the scale to 120. Do the same for the next rectangle. Duplicate it, move it under, turn the visibility on, slightly increase the size, and copy the fast box blur and the transform effect from the previous layer. Turn the layer into the adjustment layer and paste the effects. Repeat those steps for all the remaining rectangles, making sure you follow the steps exactly without skipping anything. In the end, this will create a glass-like layer under each rectangle, so the rectangle below reflects through the glass. It should look like this. Go back to the start of the layers, select the first 3 layers that make up the first rectangle and pre-compose them. Move rectangle by rectangle, select the 3 layers that make up each one, and pre-compose each of them. We do this to organize the layers. Make sure you are at second 2, select all the comps we just created, trim and delete the part of the layer before this point. Move slightly forward so you can see them. Now you will notice the glass frame we created earlier is missing. Enable the collapse transformation on all the comps. The bottom opens the comp and let you control what's inside from the outside. So now you can see the glass layer is returned. And also turn all the layers into 3D. Select the layers and create an offset of 3 frames between each layer. Start a bit late, so you can move it slightly backward. Just one effect and we are done. Add a new adjustment layer and position it so it starts exactly with the first rectangle appearance. Add the face box blur. In the settings, set the radius to 5. Add a chromatic aberration effect. Set the aberration to 50, and of course, the effect will be in the video description. Create a circle mask in the center of the screen on the adjustment layer. In the mask settings, click on the invert. Increase the mask feather to about 330. It's a bit small, so stretch it slightly to the sides. Look how stunning the animation is, and all of this in just 10 minutes. We finished creating the animations, and they look absolutely amazing. Now let's move on to the final part, that will wrap everything up and teach you exactly what you need to know to specialize in SaaS animation. And the topic is Motion Explainer Heads. Motion Explainer Head. Create a new composition. Right click and create a new solid with black color. Copy the background from the previous animation into this comp. Stretch it so it covers the whole comp. And make sure to turn off the 3D. Create a white rectangle at the bottom of the screen, roughly this size. In the rectangle settings, increase the roundness to 500, center the anchor point, and at the start of the layer, create position and scale keyframes. Move forward 20 frames, increase the scale to 230%, Move the rectangle up to the center and shift it slightly to the right. Move 2 seconds forward, drag it to the left so it's on the opposite side, and create another scale keyframe. Move 1 second forward, copy and paste the first keyframes, and reduce the scale slightly to 90%. Select all the keyframes, open the graph editor, and create a fast ease in. Look how smooth it is. Turn the rectangle layer into an adjustment layer, add the face box blur effect. In the settings, set the radius to 100, add the transform, set the scale to 160. This creates a glass reflection effect. Duplicate the layer, turn off the adjustment on it, and delete its effects. Also, turn off the fill and add a 1 pixel white stroke. This makes it more visible. In the top right corner of the search bar, create a circle with 1 pixel white stroke, center it in the corner, center the anchor point, duplicate the circle, and for the bottom layer, remove the stroke and add a fill. Turn it into adjustment layer, copy the glass effects from the previous adjustment layer, and paste them onto the circle. Select both circle layers, and link them to the base rectangle of the search bar. It should look like this. Select the 2 rectangle layers, change their color to purple, select the 2 circle layers, change their color to orange. This helps us keep things organized. Add the arrow icon layer, also included in the video description, place it in the center of the circle, and link it to the search bar base rectangle. At second 2 and 2 frames, create a position keyframe, move 5 frames forward, lower the arrow slightly, move 5 frames forward, raise the arrow outside the circle. Also at that point, trim the layer. For the right layer, delete its keyframes and lower the arrow outside the circle. Create a new keyframe, move 7 frames forward, and raise the arrow back to the center of the circle. Select the keyframes and add the position bounce. This creates the effect shown. To make the arrow invisible when it leaves the circle, duplicate the circle adjustment layer, move it above, turn off the adjustment and delete its effects. Select the 2 arrow layers and use the trackman to confine them within the circle. Duplicate the top circle layer, move the duplicate under, and turn its visibility back on. Add the 4 color gradient, position each color point at the edge of the circle. Change the first color to black, the second change to dark blue, and the last 2 also change to black. Select point 2, the blue, position it at the start of the circle, move slightly back to second 2 and 5 frames, then trim and delete the part before. At the start of the layer, create a point 2 keyframe, move 10 frames forward, raise the point, you can trim and delete after. Lower the opacity to 0% and create a keyframe. Move slightly back, restore it to 100%, move slightly after the start, create another keyframe, go to the start of the layer, and lower it to 0%. It's very important to change the layer mode to screen. This creates a color effect on the circle when the arrow moves. Now let's create a color effect for the rectangle. Duplicate the top rectangle layer, turn off its stroke, and add a fill. Add above it the solid with the effects I created with the Career HQ video, also in the video description. I modified the color to black, blue, orange, and yellow. Position them, and added a glow effect with special parameters. At second 2 and 16 frames, create an output circle keyframe, move 10 frames back, stretch the blue and the black down so they overlay the yellow and the orange, making the black and the blue covers more of the screen. Copy the keyframe, move 10 frames after the last keyframe, and paste. Go back to the middle keyframe, slightly reduce the scale of the solid, and position it to cover the search bar exactly. Link it to the previous duplicate search bar using the trackmate. Create a scale keyframe, move 10 frames back, increase slightly, then move 20 frames forward, and scale it up to match the rectangle size. Go back to the first keyframes, lower the opacity to 0% and create a keyframe. Move slightly forward and raise the opacity back to 100%. Move just before the last keyframes, create another opacity keyframe, then move to the last keyframes and lower it to 0%. Change the layer mode to screen. See how much this enhances it? Add a text box and type. Create a new image of just the mountains based on the image we found on Pinterest. Use the irregular font with white color. Scale the text down to 21% and place it on the search bar. Make sure you are at the start of the layer and add the typewriting preset. Link the text to the rectangle we connected all the other layers to. Move forward and adjust the last start keyframe to second 2. It should look like this. In the animate settings, click animation, fill color, and choose RGB. Set the fill color to light orange. Move 3 frames forward from the start of the layer, and in animate 1, create a start keyframe. Move 1 frame after the last slider keyframe, and raise the start to 100%. Select the keyframes, open the graph editor, and create as is. Take a look. Wow man, it's just beautiful. See how much this adds to the animation? Move slightly after the last keyframe of the text, create an opacity keyframe, move forward a bit, lower opacity to 0%, then trim and delete the part of the layer after this point. That's it, we're done with the search bar. See how it looks. Using the roundness rectangle tool, create a white rectangle in the top right corner. At second 3 and 20 frames, create a position keyframe for the rectangle. Go back to 1.5 seconds and move the rectangle down. Select the keyframes, open the graph editor, and create a fast design. Trim and delete the part of the layer before this point. Turn the rectangle into an adjustment layer. Copy the effects from the main search bar rectangle and paste them onto this new rectangle. In the settings, lower the blur radius to 20. Add another text box with the same text as before, in interregular font. Scale the text to 15% and center it inside the rectangle. Arrange the text into 2 even lines. Move the text layer backwards so it starts exactly where the rectangle layer underneath begins. At the start of the layer, add a typewriting effect. Move forward 1.5 seconds and drag the last start keyframe there. Select the keyframes, open the graph editor, and apply as is. Return the text to the center of the rectangle and link it to the rectangle below. Now look, everything together looks really nice. Create another small rectangle, this time on the left side. Move the layer so it starts exactly when the second text appears. Set the anchor point to the left corner of the rectangle. Move forward to second 4. Open the layer settings and create size and position keyframes. Also add the scale keyframe. Move half seconds forward, enlarge the rectangle to 300%, compress the size of the rectangle, and move it so the edge stays at the same position it has as the small rectangle. Select the scale keyframes, go into the graph editor and create a fast design. Now select the other position and size keyframes, go into the graph editor and apply as is. The motion should look like this. Change the rectangle layer into an adjustment layer. Copy the effect from the previous rectangle and paste them onto the new rectangle. On the rectangle, create a small red circle. Move the circle layer to start with the rectangle layer and center its anchor point. Duplicate the circle. Move the copy slightly to the right, then duplicate again, and move the second copy further right. Now you have 3 aligned dots. Change the layer color to aqua for organization. Select the dot layers. 6 frames after the start of the layer, move slightly up and create position keyframes. Go back to the start of the layer and move them down. Copy the keyframes, move 6 frames after the last keyframe and paste them. Repeat this process one more time. Select the keyframes and apply position bounce. 3 frames before the start of the layer, create an opacity keyframe. Then go to the start and lower it to 0%. Also, create 3 frame offset between each layer. Move to the first keyframes of the rectangle. Select all the dot layers and set the opacity to 0%. Move back 3 frames and return it to 100%. This way, the dot disappears exactly when the rectangle changes its shape. Duplicate the rectangle, and for the top rectangle, remove the adjustment layer. Also, delete all the effects from it. Add the mountain image to your comp, and move its layer so it starts exactly with the first keyframe of the rectangle. Scale it to match the size of the rectangle. Link it to the duplicate rectangle using the trackmate. It feels too early. You can move the mountain layer slightly forward. Let's see how it looks. Finally, select all the layers that make up the search bar, and move them to the top about everything.
Now you don't just understand the SaaS style, you know how to build it. If you learn something new, like and follow for more. See you in the next video.